If you can have 3 quality conversations a day with qualified prospects, you are never going to have to worry about production again in your career. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. I am your host, Michael Weaver, and I'm flying solo today without Courtney. And I want to talk about if you are in a sales slump, I have the solution for you. That is what today's episode is about. And the solution, I promise you, is not going to be hard or as complicated as you may think it might be. So I want to get right into it today. Let's get right into it. If you're in a sales slump, that means you're probably in an activity slump. That's really what that means. You're more than likely in an activity slump. And what I mean by this is your sales funnel is not full. Your sales funnel is inconsistent. So for those of you who are watching me right now on YouTube or Spotify, I'm like, your sales funnel. So I have my hands going, you have a sales funnel. So every activity you do is meant to put leads into the sales funnel. So every call you make, every text message, every email, every instant message is meant to put leads into your prospecting funnel. So a lot of you have multiple funnels. A lot of you have your P&C funnel, you have your life insurance funnel, you may have your commercial funnel, you may have your investment funnel, whatever. Today, I'm really going to focus on just the understanding and concept of what you need to do right now, today, moving forward to eliminate your sales slump. To make sure that you are always filling your funnel with qualified leads. That is what today is about. I actually wrote a book on this called Quote 3. Quote 3, how to make multiple six figures in any sales organization. I haven't talked about this in a long time, and I just got off a coaching call with somebody. That's why I'm talking about it right now, because the solution is easy. The solution is simple. Number one, you have to know your numbers. Now, anyone that knows my story, and I've shared this with you, is I used to make my team make 100 to 150 calls every day. Every day. Call. And that is one way to get the amount of quotes needed to be successful without a doubt. But what I found is my team was actually more focused on making the call, doing the activity, than they were in having the quality conversation and getting the business done. And so from what I learned from that experience is I didn't hound my team so much on making the 100 to 150 calls a day every single day, because there's very, 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 very few people in the sales industry that can constantly come in and just make calls every day, all day long. Very few people have a burning desire and passion and big enough why to do that. And not only that, most people, the amount of rejections, the amount of calls, the amount of no's, that just wears on them. It weighs on them, and you will cause constant burnout. You will have constant team turnover, in my experience, doing it that way. Now, you can do it that way. And without a doubt, you can have a team come in and make 100 to 150 calls a day. That's typically going to, if you can make 150 calls a day, that would typically relate to roughly about 8 to 10 answers. And out of those 8 to 10 answers, you can typically get about 3 to 5 people on the phone. And if you can just have 3 quality conversations a day, and I'm going to define quality, that's really what you're focused on. And in today's episode of Filling Your Funnel, what I want you focused on as the producer listening to this right now, or as an agent or coach, is less about the activity and more about the conversations we're having. Because if you can have 3 quality conversations a day with qualified prospects, you are never going to have to worry about production again in your career. Now, what is a qualified prospect? That's somebody that is eligible for insurance. That's somebody that meets your ideal customer avatar. So maybe it's a homeowner with a couple kids. They make at least $150,000 a year household income. They've got some toys like a side-by-side or a boat, camper. maybe a second home, maybe some rental properties. Everyone's ideal customer avatar is going to be a little bit different. You're going to have probably multiple ideal avatars. That would be the first thing that you need to do. But that's what we're focused on. Is if you're in a sales slump, number one, I understand you have to do the calls. You have to build your funnel because activity is going to equate to confidence. The more people you talk to, the better you're going to get. You need to practice these conversations without a doubt. That could be why you're in a sales slump as well. Is if you're never practicing conversations, if you never practice speaking out loud and your conversations with customers are your practice reps, that is the recipe for disaster. That is the recipe to suck. Period. You have to get in your reps. You have to practice. You have to practice speaking out loud. Your customer conversation should not be your practice reps. You should not be practicing on customers or prospects. You should be practicing either with your peers or with an AI role play technology like Agency Coach AI, where it has the ability to role play a full-blown conversation and give you specific feedback and coaching. You can ask it questions on how you could have done better, how you could improve. It grades you. It scores you. That is the best way to role play and practice. But today's not about AI and technology. That's just one thing you need to do to get out of a sales slump. The second thing you need to do is you actually need to pick up the phone and you actually need to make the dials. Smile and dial, baby. I'm not here to say you have to make 100 to 150 calls every single day for the rest of your career, but you need to make 100 to 150 calls a day probably for the next 30, 60, 90 days to at least get some prospects in the funnel. And then what you're focusing on here is the skill set that you're building. I want to reiterate this. I don't want you to make 150 calls a day every single day the rest of your career, but I want you to build a skill set of when you get somebody on the phone, you're able to convert them into a conversation, and then you're able to convert that conversation into a closed deal. Those are the skill sets you're building. And so it does take you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months to build these skill sets, and that's when I find that people have to make the most amount of dials. Because while you're making these dials, you're getting people to answer the phone. Well, if you suck at converting that answer into a quote, you're not going to fill your funnel. Or if you're great at getting them on the phone and getting them into the quote, but then your quote is just about price and you're not good at that conversation and multi-lining and educating and presenting and closing, well, dang, your closing rate's going to suck. So you have to build the skill sets of what it takes to be a top performer to constantly be filling your funnel. So one, you're going to have to make some calls in the beginning. I'm not here to hide that fact. I'm not here to say that you don't need to do that. Look, you have to build the skill sets it takes to be successful. But here's the good news, is once you establish those skill sets will never get taken away from you. Are you embracing AI in your business? Are you afraid of potentially getting left behind? Make sure, if you haven't already, book a call with us at Agency Coach AI. The reviews have been incredible. We are the most advanced AI software solution for you as an insurance professional, giving you and your team the ability to get live grading and coaching on every single call. Doesn't matter sales call or service call. How about the ability to role play full-blown sales conversations, taking the awkwardness, the weirdness, the shame out of the peer-to-peer role plays that aren't that effective? How about the ability to have amazing reporting that's going to give you more data than you've ever had the ability to have as an agency owner? If you haven't booked a call with us at Agency Coach AI, make sure you click the link below. Other than that, let's get back to the show. So after you make 100, 150 dials every single day for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and you start to accumulate the knowledge and the skill sets it takes to convert those answers into conversations and then those conversations into closed deals, you should be aiming for a 30+% close rate is what you're aiming for. If you can on the upfront conversation, if you can convert it 50%, that means 1 out of every 2 people that answer the phone, you're going to convert them into a quote. And then every 1 out of 3 people, so 33% close rate, you get on the phone and you're actually closing deals. That's where you never have to worry about this ever again. And it is doable. Hundreds, if not thousands of producers, your peers, do this every single day. It's all about having 3 quality conversations a day. So that means your P&C, you need to have 3 quality P&C sales conversations a day. Life insurance, you need to have 3 life insurance conversations a day. Quality, meaning that you are getting on, having your rapport building conversation. Discovery, what's important to them besides price in the conversation? What would they want their insurance plan to do for them if they were in an accident and they hurt somebody? and the insurance company paid out and it wasn't enough, what's their plan to make sure that's going to be covered? Would they want the insurance company to cover it so that they didn't even have to worry about potentially having their wages garnished or going through lawsuits? What happened if they passed away in that accident? Would they want their family to receive a check to make sure they never struggled financially? What is important to them? And then the presentation needs to be educational. It needs to be empowering. It needs to be multi-lining. It needs to be about higher liability limits and protection. And then, of course, you're going to have to ask for the deal. You're going to have to ask for the close. That's what I'm talking about. 3 of those conversations a day, every single day. And if you just do that every single day, you're going to get out of your sales slump pretty fast. So yes, maybe in the beginning, you do have to make 100, 150 calls a day every single day. You have to do the activity to build the skill sets, to build the knowledge, to build the wisdom it takes to be successful. But after 90 days of that, you're going to have the skill sets necessary to where you don't have to make the 100, 150 calls a day. Then all you're focused on is 3 quality conversations a day every single day. How can I just talk to 3 people every single day? Because if let's say you make 50 calls a day. Well, I guarantee 50 calls a day at a 50% conversion rate is going to be enough to get the 3 quotes a day. Maybe then it goes down to 25 a day. Or maybe you continue to do the same activity, and now instead of 3 people, you're quoting 5. And instead of 1 household a day closing, you're closing 2. And now you're closing 100 apps a month or items a month versus the 50. So now you're working just as hard, but you're making way more money because you're helping more people because you've developed the skill set it takes to do that. You see, this is about knowing your numbers. This is about being willing to do the dang thing, to make the calls, to develop the skill set it takes to be successful. And then it's about doing what it takes to be successful. It's about increasing your knowledge. When you get good at quoting auto home or auto renters with every conversation, let's now start pushing our ability, our skill set, and let's start quoting an auto home umbrella with every conversation or auto renter umbrella. And then when you get really good at it, how about an auto home umbrella life insurance policy? Auto renter umbrella life insurance policy. Now, auto home umbrella 2 life insurance policies. You see, when you start to get good and you start to develop skill sets, this is when you start to push yourself. So you maximize conversations. So the same 3 conversations you were having 3 months ago around 2 items or 2 different lines of business, well, in 6 months, you better be having conversations of at least 3 lines or 4 lines. You have to continue to develop and grow yourself and maximize conversations. Because when you maximize conversations, let's do the math here. Let's pretend like you close 20 households a month. Well, 20 households a month at 1 item is 20 items or 20 apps. 20 households at 2 items or 2 apps is 40 now a month. Same amount of work. 20 households at 3 apps or 3 items is 60. 60 a month. 20 households at 4, you guys are doing the math here. That's 80. 20 households at 5, that's 100. How many of you want to be Century Club producers? It's not about just making the 100, 150, 200 calls a day every single day. That's one mathematical equation you can do. But you need to work smart and hard. Just don't work hard. Eventually you will burn out if all you do is work hard every single day and just write 100 households a day that give you 100 apps. When you could write 50 households that produce 200 apps or 20 households that produce 100 apps. I hope this is making sense. You should be focused every single day. If you're in a sales slump, make the activities, make the calls, train, practice, get better, develop the skill sets it takes, and then focus on 3 quality conversations a day. 3 quality conversations a day. That's it. 3 quality P&C conversations, 3 quality life insurance conversations. If you're having 3 a day every single day with a 33% close rate, you will never have to worry about production again. You will be a top 1% producer. You will be a top 1% income earner if you're in the right seat with the right person that's paying you. You will never, ever have to worry about this ever again. And that's all it takes to get out of your sales slump right now. Practice, train, do the activity. Activity. This equates to confidence. Confidence carries over into sales conversations. Your closing techniques will increase. They will improve. Now, you need to train and practice as well. That is part of developing the skill set. But you can't just train and practice and not implement. That would be like reading about swimming but never actually going swimming. You have to do the dang thing. You have to implement what you are learning. You have to implement what you are training on. You have to actually get in the arena. You have to make the swings, baby. 3, quality conversations a day. That's all you're focused on. If you're in a sales slump, how can you talk to 3 qualified leads a day where you're having full-blown sales conversations and you're asking for the sell? If you focus on that every single day, you will get out of your sales slump instantly. You'll get out of your sales slump in the next month if you do what I'm asking you to do right now, what I'm telling you to do. If you're in a sales slump, put a smile on your face, start practicing, start training, start making the dials, focus on 3 quality conversations a day, asking for the sell multiple times, and at the end of the next 30 days, you will be out of your sales slump. As always, time and attention are by far our most important assets. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to hang out with me on The Buzz. Go out and make it great.